Welcome to the Fairly KickAss podcast and a happy 2026 to all who celebrate. With this being the first podcast of the year, we got to talk resolutions. I know all of you are sick of hearing about them or coming up with them yourselves. It's the usual gamut, right? Like you exercise more, you eat better, you stop leaving everyone on red all the damn time, Zach. Just respond to a fucking text once it. Sorry, I was getting off track there. But yeah, resolutions. We, as a podcast, have never done the resolutions. We've never been on the resolution train. I feel like this is year of this podcast, and it's high time that maybe we get on board, you know? So I figured we can decide together. I have just a really short list of some potential resolutions for the three of us to mull over. We can decide if they're things that we want to aspire to. We can decide if they go right in the bin. And, you know, we'll see where this takes us. So without further ado, guys, in 2026, the Fairly KickAss podcast will do a remote from somewhere not in Ohio or Tennessee. Will this happen? Is this a resolution that we will aspire to?
Ooh. Does it have to be all three of us on remote or one of us on location?
It has to be at least two.
Okay.
I saw the idea, and then I saw the idea in his eyes die as soon as you said two.
Well, I don't know. Like, I feel like traveling at the same time becomes a burden, but I think it could possibly happen. I'm pretty okay with it. Okay.
We've got a wide range of the U.S. and beyond. Who says we can't take this shit international?
Yeah.
We're going to put that as a maybe. We're going to say maybe for the remote outside of our home states.
Okay. I like it.
Resolution number 2. In 2026, the Fairly KickAss podcast will somehow back asswards into an interview with a known named music star or Peter Cetera.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and veto this one because I don't think any of that happening. I don't think that's going to be a thing.
Define star.
Someone who sniffed the radio at some point in their career.
No.
Someone who has a Spotify. I know, once again.
Damn.
I forgot. I mean, I do subscribe to it, to be fair.
So, we're going to do resolutions, guys. We didn't realize in the process one of yours was to turn into Dr. Disrespect over there. Jesus.
So we'll go ahead and pencil in that interview with Jay for February, maybe March.
That's okay. We'll call your management. It's okay. We'll get there.
Have my people call your people. It's fine.
Oh gosh, so that one is a yes. All right, resolution number 3. In 2026, the Fairly KickAss podcast will successfully start a viral rumor about Morgan Wallen, which we will then find out was actually true the entire time because fuck that guy.
Yes.
I feel like we might do that without trying. I think I'd put that at like 60-40.
Ooh, I like those odds.
80-20 if we try.
It might be 80-20 if we actually put the effort into it. But I think in a proper tribute to his career, we should put forth no effort.
That feels right. To be fair, that feels very right.
Yeah.
So I am going to pencil that in as shrug emoji. And finally, boys, in 2026, the Fairly KickAss podcast will put out dozens of amazing episodes, thoroughly entertaining our listener base. And I don't know why I even wrote that one. That's not going to happen.
I don't know that I can go along with that one either. It seems like that doesn't seem like even like a 1090 kind of proposition.
Yeah, that's like you're losing money at the books.
Yeah,
no matter what the odds are.
Yeah.
The dozens of episodes part, that's going to happen.
Yes.
The rest of it, TBD.
51 or so episodes, give or take.
Or so, yeah. Some of those perhaps recycled from previous years.
Yeah.
As one does.
We got to be running out of those eventually.
You'd be surprised. That vault is vast.
The only one I thought of that we could add to that list is like, as a podcast, we could finally admit that nostalgia is lying to us.
Oh, absolutely it is.
I think we could probably cross that one off the list like right now. Yeah, okay.
I haven't yet. As will be a little bit evidenced by the stuff we're about to talk about today.
I was just going to say, you can admit its faults while still embracing it.
Fair enough.
It can be both. It can be both. But like you mentioned, 51 episodes, give or take. Can't get there without the first one. So let's jump into it right here in the Very KickAss podcast. And away we go. 2026. Fairly Kick-Ass. Zach, Dan, Jay, listeners, hello. Welcome in. You know the drill by now. If you've been here, if you haven't been here before, this is your time to bail. We have warned you. Giving you fair warning. We have so many different types of episodes. Go through our catalog. You'll find it. Just search for Fairly Kick-Ass. We'll tell you again at the end of the episode. But for now, we are going to do one of our world famous, locally famous. World. Okay, done. I like it. I like the ambition. World famous top 5 episodes. Today, we're going to be talking about 1+1 hit wonders. That's right. 2 hit wonders. Because everyone does the 1 hit wonder show. It's so trite. It's so played. So let's add another hit on the pile and see what happens. And God, that made this tremendously more challenging.
It did. It really did.
I actually wrote down the thing, like, ask them these questions when we get done, because it really was a question, and this is probably going to be telling for our list. How exactly did y'all define a 2-hit artist? Because there's a number of them that I thought immediately of, and then went back to my guidelines and went, oh, that's not going to work. That they're actually under that. They're actually 3-hit wonders or no hit wonders.
Yeah, I had a few that were like that, where it's like, well, obviously it's that one, and then like, oh shit, that charted too.
Right.
And then, but I went with the basics, industry standard of top 40 hit.
Yep.
Right. So okay. it had to hit top 40 for me, which put a couple back in that, had like a number 42 somewhere in there. And I could still count them as a 2-hit wonder. And then it also left a few out that had like you said, like a third song that I forgot about, that everybody forgot about, that culture decided needed to be in the bin after it charted. So, it went back and forth on that, but I felt like that was a baseline for starting. And then I could form my arguments at that point.
Yeah, I think you and I had very similar paths to get here. I think you still maintained your sort of guardrails, your sort of process. And once I hit that wall of like, well, I can't include this one, I can't include this one, I basically threw those out the window and decided to go on vibes.
That's on brand too.
That's highly on brand. Okay, then.
No.
Once again, the most unsuspecting two that Jay and I feel like we're kind of walking the exact same path, and you've decided to just go running randomly through the woods.
It sounds like that, but honestly, it's not. It doesn't yield anything weird. I mean, I think our lists are going to still be pretty similar.
Maybe.
I will make a prediction in mine, and I'll be highly disappointed if I am wrong. But I will also say there's nothing wrong with a random nature wander either. So that's a thing.
That's true. That's true. Throw some rocks, see some foliage.
I have some nature wander, but it's not random.
I don't know that I do. I think I have a couple artists that'll people go, oh yeah, those guys kind of responses.
Yes,
man, I am immensely more excited about this list now after hearing both of you and realizing we might have 15 different songs or 15 different artists rather.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah, no time to start like the present. So, Dan, I'd say if you wanted to kick us off for 2026, my friend, what was your number 5 artist?
Cool. Cool. Because I'm also going to immediately cheat. And I have a 5A and a 5B.
Attaboy. That's what's up.
I'll try to run through this as quick as I possibly can, because I bothered to write a few things. So let's go ahead with that. And I will start with a phrase that I will probably say quite a bit, and that this is someone that absolutely deserves more recognition and hits than just the pair of singles that they have. But When you look at the pair of singles off of 2004's Eye to the Telescope, KT Tunstall comes in at 5A. Hold On for follow-up album Drastic Fantastic, or It Took So Long to Get Here, but Here I Am from 2016's Kind. Also songs that deserve the attention, but Black Horse and the Cherry Tree that peaked at 21, and Suddenly I See It peaked at number 20. Get her in this box, still acknowledging that the Scottish singer-songwriter was able to capture the zeitgeist for a good bit of 2005 and turn that into international acclaim, and deserves some more.
Nice way to start. Honorable mention. So, right there with you.
Okay, cool. Okay. And then 5B is a group that everyone thinks of as a 90s anomaly at a time when unique blues rock, kind of sort of jam bandy, we'll get to the actual honorable mentions of those, could put a song on the charts and parlay that into a long career. And Blues Traveler have done just that. Despite just a pair of singles from 95's Four, being the only time they sniffed the Hot 100, they are, as of 2023, 16 studio albums into a career that spanned around 3 decades and generated a very solid following. But there's something about both Run Around, peaking at number 8, and Hook, peaking at number 23, which is the better song, that point to the bridge that was being built in the alt-pop world at the time. The scene that is just kind of back and to the left of the mainstream was in an odd place following the explosion and rapid burnout of grunge's hit-making period, and was instead looking into areas that were previously not well explored by the hit parade. And Blues Traveler stepped in to fill that bluesy void with, again, a sound and an energy that deserved more attention and chart success than they got.
Could not agree more.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree with Blues Traveler. I have them as an honorable mention. 16 studio albums from one of the best harmonica players to ever grace the stage. The man's amazing, and that's a travesty that they only had 2, but absolutely perfect for this list. I will a little bit disagree with KT Tunstall. I know both of you, so you had it on your list, and Zach, you said it, your honorable mention.
Yeah.
And the only reason I will disagree with that being on the list is because I think she's still got some room in her to chart. So I feel like calling her, it's early to call her a 2-hit wonder.
Oh, I didn't even think about that aspect. I just looked at it as 2 hits at this point in their career, not 2 hits,
right,
full stop. That's really interesting.
I suppose that would be another caveat to how I made my list, is saying I think they're done. They're not getting any more.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking through my list. Yeah, I've got a few that are still active. I don't know that I would necessarily pencil them in there's got a hit coming in, but yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, I don't think the rest of the list is making those hits.
Well, I will go ahead and dip my toe in with my number 5. And I also don't think that this person is going to be making any more hits anytime soon. But thankfully, the 2 hits that came out of her were I'm going to rephrase that because I don't like the way that came. But thankfully, the 2 hits that she was responsible for were very wonderful in their own right. And the I think, Dan, you had mentioned the pop culture zeitgeist. The zeitgeist absolutely embraced one of these songs more than the other, as it ended up as the theme to a very popular 90s television show. The other arguably would have made a better theme to a better television show as well. At least I feels like that. The TV show that did get the treatment is Dawson's Creek, which means, of course, I'm talking about Paula Cole, who is my number 5 2-hit wonder. With the Dawson's Creek theme, I Don't Want to Wait, a great song. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know exactly what it has to do with Dawson's Creek at all in any sense, since it's a song about war and Dawson's Creek is not a show about war. But somehow it still fits. It's still if you just don't listen to the words, it is just the perfect song for that television show. The other charting, that peaked at number 11, by the way. The other charting song for Paula Cole was Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? Which, just go with me for a second. Just imagine John Dutton and Beth and Teeter and the whole Yellowstone crew just walking around the ranch in slow motion to the dulcet tones of that track. Any of you Yellowstone fans, you're picturing it in your head and you're like, why didn't they? Why didn't they? It was right there in front of them. But yeah, despite the missed opportunity, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? Great jam. I Don't Want to Wait. Great jam. No other hits to speak of. I don't even think that Paula Cole hit the top 100 with any other track in her discography. So yeah, just those two. And I think it was a great way to start off my list.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that.
I only have 1 point of contention.
What's that?
Dawson's Creek was in fact about a war, the war on khaki.
Oh, fucking dare you.
The war on khaki being fought with mouth winks.
Incredible. Oh, I don't know what I could add if I had anything to add, but I do not. So, Jay, please pull us out of this with your number 5.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. So I love my number 5 pick. I don't know why I didn't bump it up a little higher, but mostly I would like to say that like the order of this is not really indicative of anything. It's more like these are 5 notable 2-hit wonders, and I chose which order I would talk about them in. So my number 5 is sort of an interesting 2-hit wonder. Eve 6 bookended the turn of the millennium with 2 songs that could hardly be more different. First, you have 1998's Inside Out, which gave us the Heart in the Blender lyric that basically defined the late 90s suburban angst. And that peaked at number 28 on the chart. Then they pivoted perfectly into the graduation prom anthem of 2001 with Here's to the Night, which peaked at number 30. And it's a fascinating duality because they provided the soundtrack to both your messy teenage breakup and the sentimental goodbye to your high school friend 3 years later. They are notable because they managed to survive the one-hit wonder trap by successfully transitioning from that crunchy, tongue-twisting post-grunge to that polished, radio-ready balladry that ruled the early 2000s. But the reason we should really care about them now is because their lead singer, Max Collins, pulled off one of the most unlikely second acts in rock history, and that's in 2020. He turned the official Eve 6 Twitter account into a viral, self-deprecating masterclass in shitposting. It garnered them this massive new following by roasting his own band's legacy and the music industry at large. And he's become sort of a modern philosopher for the forgotten rock star, being brutally honest about the absurdity of being a teenager who sold millions of records and then had to navigate the valley after fame faded. They aren't just a nostalgia trip. They're a living example of how to have a sense of humor about your own past while still making surprisingly great punk-infused new music on their own terms.
And putting on a heck of a live show as well.
Yeah, you were at that show. I missed that one.
Yes.
Yeah, I still think fondly about that concert.
Well, like as 3/4 of that concert for the most part. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, Everclear could have just stayed home, but the rest of it was
all right. Yeah, great answer.
I did not know that Max Collins had a master's degree in shit posting, but I do need to explore this more.
Yeah, it's fun. If you want to brave the tide waters of former Twitter posts.
I'm just going to get the Vulture recap, actually.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That's fair.
I'm going to do it the safe way. Yeah, that did not make my honorable mentions only because I forgot to write it down when I thought about it. But it absolutely should have. It's a great pick.
Thank you.
Absolutely had him his way and on the honorable mention list. Absolutely.
Love it.
Dan, what about your number 4?
Well, let's go a completely different direction for a hot minute then. And ask ourselves a question. Why did hair metal hold such a place of prominence on the Billboard charts of the mid to late 80s? The band at number 4 may have had a lot to do with that, actually. When they opened the door to many, many, many blowouts and eyeliner-stained scarves, when a pair of singles off of 1983's Metal Health hit the top 40 and made Quiet Riot household names. But more importantly, they said they were at the front of that first wave of metal bands to break through, in a sense, become pop stars. I mean, rock has always had its place on the charts, but Quiet Riot was one of the first to really bring some of that 80s Sunset Strip to Billboard. Is it a comment on quality? Not necessarily, but there are a few historical comments overlapping, and that's good enough to earn a spot on my list. For I am a simple critic and creator.
You're trying to wax poetic at the end there?
I think so. While forgetting to explain that the 2 songs were Metal Health, Bang Your Head, that that peaked off at 31, and then the real blockbuster, Come On Feel the Noise, which really blew the thing's doors open at number 5.
Yeah, it was not the hair metal act that I had on my list, but I don't think it's a bad choice either. I think, like you said. Oh, good. Yeah.
No. I'm not going to argue about it. I think it's a really fun choice. I think it was, it definitely serves a purpose here on these 2-hit wonders lists, but I can't, in good conscience, call them good songs.
That's it. It didn't say quality necessarily. Yeah. And I didn't necessarily, I don't know if I want to necessarily hold everything they opened the door for. I mean, not long after they hit, so did Autograph. But they did kind of, you introduce you're sort of the vanguard for a very important genre for a number of years. Again, for better or worse.
Yeah, indeed.
They were important. They were critical to the time, to the genre, for sure.
For every Van Halen, there were 20 Faster Pussycats.
And a Van Halen in there, too.
Yeah. Van Hagar.
Hey, Dreams slaps. I don't even give a fuck.
Sorry, I was just in the back of my head going, we could probably spend the next 40 minutes just remembering some hair bands. Let's not, though. Let's
that's
please
a different
not.
episode.
Yeah, let's maybe not put a pin in that. Instead, let's put a pin in your number 4, Zach.
Let's do it. There will not be any hair involved in my number 4, but there will be bone, specifically the one that I would like to pick with the Billboard Hot 100 and the listeners who made it possible. The band to not bury the lead for too long is the wonderful trio Fastball, who, by the way, we did do a little workup on a deep dive episode. It is in the vault still. You'd have to go to Spotify only to get it. It's from like 2023. But check it out. It's really good.
It was fun.
But the reason I have a bone to pick with it is that 2 of this trio songs, 2 and only 2, have charted on the Billboard Hot 100. One of them is correct, which is Out of My Head. The other one, while a great song, is not the second hit. The second song to chart from Fastball was Fire Escape. I enjoy Fire Escape. I think Fire Escape's a great song. Fire Escape is not The Way. The Way is unequivocally the second hit of the 2-hit wonder that is Fastball, as evidenced by the fact that it somehow is their only song to get certified by the RIAA despite never hitting the top 100 and having 2 other songs that did hit the top 100 and did not get certified. I literally don't know how that works. I have no idea what the rules are, but they need to change because that shouldn't be possible. But yeah, just like we talked about during the deep dive, I'm sure they've come up in other episodes. Super delightful pop act. I feel like calling them a pop act is maybe underselling them a little bit as well. But you've heard these songs. You probably love these songs if you've heard them. And it was one that I had to pull a little bit of strings on my own rules. This was when the rules went out the window, by the way. But I think it was well worth it to right this wrong and get them where they belong.
Yeah, I think it's fair to break your rules on that one for a couple of reasons. One, well, I mean, you didn't point this out quite, but Fire Escape, while it charted, only hit 86. So It just barely made the charts. But the fact that that's not a charting single, or that The Way is not a charting single, is something that I think the digital era will have fixed. But prior to that, I think there was... actually, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit with something else I have on my list, so I'll just put a pin in it.
They were one of the first bands I thought of,
yeah.
And I immediately had to shuffle them backwards to honorable mention because I couldn't break the rules. Because the reason, here's the reason. Okay, so here's the reason you asked for of how does a single go gold but not even hit the Hot 100. How it doesn't ever get to the Hot 100, I don't know, but because it was a number 4 song on the pop airplay charts and a number 2 song on adult airplay charts and a number 1 song on alternative airplay charts. So in 1998, The Way was literally everywhere on the radio and it was all over VH1. So it sold a lot of copies. How it did not sell enough to hit the Hot 100, I do not know.
It's wild, yeah.
And that's the only reason I didn't have them in the actual list themselves, because I am like you. I like those 2 songs. And then when we did that deep dive, I became a fan of the band.
Yeah.
Enough to say that I can think of like 4 other songs that are probably
better tunes.
better tunes, maybe better than Out of My Head, maybe.
I don't know about
the way's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to rearrange my list so we can talk about that now since it's topical.
Please.
I actually had this at my number 1 track or artist for this list. And the reason is because of this weird industry thing that goes on. So if you look at the official record books, the Cranberries are one of the most fascinating cases of statistical versus cultural success. So while they felt like they kind of owned the 90s at times, they technically only landed 2 major hits in the top 40. There was the timeless Linger and the 1996 ballad When You're Gone. Those are the only 2 of their songs to chart.
Really?
Yes. So it's wild to think about how that, but When You're Gone actually was their second highest charting single ever, peaking at number 22. So in that one, it's a cool song, but it's not the one everybody remembers, right? Like right. It's that bittersweet, dolorous yearning, but it often gets overshadowed in the 90s nostalgia loop because it didn't have the same alt rock anthem energy as their other tracks. What makes them so notable as a 2-hit wonder is this massive disconnect between the charts and reality. Most 2-hit wonders are bands that have been mostly forgotten, but the Cranberries are the opposite. So like they're a legendary multi-platinum band whose biggest hits, like Zombie and Dreams, essentially lived on a different plane of existence. And those songs prove that the Billboard charts of the 90s were sometimes a complete lie. Fastball is another good example of that. The songs that defined the era weren't always the ones that technically charted, but they made, to me, that makes the Cranberries the ultimate example of a band whose legacy completely outpaced their statistics. And Fastball is another good example of that, but a much less iconic version, I think. And from doing research on it, what it looks like is that the songs like Zombie, while they got a lot of airplay and MTV play and all of that kind of stuff, it was never actually released as a single. It was only on the album. So it was sold as a package to get people to buy the album.
That's really wild.
But never released as a single. And I believe the same is true for The Way, where Out of My Head was the single that was released by itself. And then The Way was the album cut. So in order to hear that one, you had to either continue relentlessly listening to the radio, which didn't take that long to hear that song, or buy the whole album.
That's what's the more I look at it, the more is what's fascinating about that is Zombie hit number 1 on the US alt charts.
Yep.
Despite the fact that you said it not released, but it had to have been elsewhere because I mean, platinum Australia, platinum in Great Britain, platinum in New Zealand 6 times over. But for what that whole thing is, like, still there's multiple country certification bodies that say this is a gold and platinum song. Same thing with Dreams, which would have just missed the top 40.
Yeah.
And they're not
an example of being number 42. That was the specific example that I was talking about.
An example of a band that really has that reputation everywhere else but here on the actual sales charts.
Yeah. I just felt like as I was doing this list, that was wild to me. Not only that they were only a 2-hit wonder, but that Zombie wasn't one of them. And that Dreams wasn't one of them. And that Ode to My Father wasn't one of them. And that, like, I could keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said, the charts in the 1990s, or at least the Hot 100 chart, was a bald-faced lie.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
At least at times.
Yeah. I would not have thought of them as a 2-hit wonder, but it was a good argument. I think you've converted me.
Yeah, well, it was wild because I thought of it just looking at it. Like I just wanted to look because I thought, well, it's going to be Zombie and Dreams, and then Linger might be close.
Right.
And I was way wrong, and it led me down this rabbit hole.
That's been the most interesting part, like just having this preconceived notion of like, these are the 2 hits, and then looking to see what the charting is. And in some cases it's correct. In other cases, wildly incorrect.
Yeah.
Dan, for your number 3, was that more of a correct hit on the charts, or were they off base as well as they were with Jay and me for that matter?
The hits were correct, but the fact that there were only 2 was incorrect. If that makes sense.
It does.
And here's why I really like the band. I've got number 3. First, they're a cool ass band, and they draw influence from all areas of rock and metal, and also funk and jazz and pop and blues. And the album where their 2 biggest hits came from has been called a thinking man's metal album because of the lyrical musings and impeccable guitar work, which I kind of like. Also, of everyone on my list, I think they have some of the most chart success. I take that back. There's one other person, and I think they're an honorable mention just because of where they hit in 2000. But they might have the most chart success in their two hits, and also because their hits sound the least like the majority of their catalog, which also helps emphasize that while they had a sound, they really had all sounds. Their second studio album dropped in August of 1990 to much critical acclaim, but it wasn't until the following March, with the release of their third single, that this Boston quartet etched their name into Billboard history. That first song was, of course, the now classic acoustic ballad More Than Words, followed up by Wholehearted from Extreme. And when I say they're probably the most successful of my 2-hit wonders, More Than Words hit number 1 in the U.S. and 4 other countries. The follow-up Wholehearted went top 10 in 7 countries and ended up at number 4 on the Hot 100. And there's so much that could be said about these 2 songs. I'll just kind of blow through quickly with More Than Words. It really kind of is the ultimate hair ballad, while actually being one of the most interesting, really written songs of the genre, kind of turning that traditional point of view on its ear. And then you have Wholehearted, which is just like a funky acoustic jam with a whole lot of Led Zeppelin in it. And I love the story behind it because basically, Betancourt wrote it on the can and then came out and goes, guys, listen to this.
So good.
It's definitely the best part of that song.
Yes.
I had to pause and listen to that because it wasn't immediately apparent what song that was. As soon as I listened to it, I knew exactly what song it was, but I just never, it was one of those that and never really think of like, who performed this song and what is this song called? But yeah, absolute bop.
I didn't do the research, but I would love to see if this list exists somewhere, but it might also be one of the highest charting songs to feature a 12-string guitar.
I believe it.
Nuno loved that 12-string.
Yeah.
Brother could wail on it too.
Shit, yeah.
Depending on who you ask, the man's a god.
Very easy to see why he would get that praise.
100%. Yeah. Solid pick. Yeah. One that I would not have thought of, just like the Cranberries, but yeah, fantastic pick.
Right. And that was, like I said, that's one of the more surprising bits of when I'm doing research is going, I know they had 2 songs, but where did they finish? Oh, yeah, they definitely belong here.
Yeah, it was the kind of the unexpected fun of this entire episode.
Yes, actually, it really was. And being kind of surprised in the artists we would have to disqualify in some of those cases.
Yeah, for sure. I had a few of those myself that I think I'm more excited about the honorable mentions, honestly, just to talk about acts that are really great, but just didn't quite fit the bill.
That was the other thing I found out too, is that I really found a ton of them.
Yeah.
And one that definitely deserves to not be anywhere near any of them, but that's neither here nor there. The real question, though, is moving on to your number 3. I know it's not going to be, your number 3 isn't going to get a grade F. I know that for sure.
It might, because I super cheated. If you thought I cheated with my number 4, I super cheated with my number 3, but for good reason. So here's the deal, right? Like, one of my tracks is attributed to my number 4 artist. The other one isn't technically, but it really should be because it is this group's work. And this individual who this track was credited to was kind of sort of a ancillary part of this group in its early years. And it should have been, as for what the track was, it absolutely should have been attributed to the entire group. Interestingly, both tracks peaked same place on the Hot 100 at number 11. One of those happened to be the very first charting single that included one Tupac Shakur, that being I Get Around, which is absolutely a digital underground song. I will not hear anything to the contrary. The Humpty Dance makes up the other half of the 2-hit wonder. And what a wonder they were. As a group, Tupac or no Tupac, they were absolutely one of those groups that was kind of the unsung trailblazers of like, hip hop in the very late 80s and into the early 90s, and specifically fun hip hop. Like when everyone else was serious, when we were talking about rivalries, when we were doing the East Coast, West Coast, as important as those songs and that period of time was, it was also important that you had groups that were able to let their hair down, like Digital Underground. I don't know that I'll sit here and say that they should have had additional tracks that charted. I don't think that they were necessarily, I think it's like with you and A Quiet Riot, Dan. Like, I don't know that I'd call them good, but I would very much have called them entertaining. Do What You Like is a outlier there. That's a jam. That should have been absolutely a charting single. But yeah, both of those two tracks and Do What You Like ending up on their debut album, Sex Packets, by far their most popular album. They did have one other track that charted called Kiss You Back from their second album, Sons of the P. I didn't remember that track existed until I looked at their Wikipedia page, so I was able to disregard it offhand because, this was one of those judgment calls where the two songs kind of jumped out, even if one of them was not on an album associated with that artist. So there you go, Digital Underground and Tupac as a part of Digital Underground.
So you managed to cheat without actually cheating.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, cheat adjacent.
Yes.
I dipped a toe into cheating, but not the full foot.
No, and I certainly don't have any beef with you doing so.
No, no.
Fine. Shock G forever.
Forever and ever.
Nothing but agreement, man. More disappointed that I didn't think of them beyond the Humpty Dance and actually go back and look.
That is, I'm checking a couple of artists right now as we're talking about it just to verify that I didn't miss something wonderful. No, I was right. Okay. No, but I missed that completely. I did not think it because I do in my head, that's a Tupac track, right? Like, yeah. So I didn't make that association, and you win.
Yes. We'll take the victories as we can get them.
Yeah. I also think I just realized who your number one act is, Zach. I had to think about it for a second, but I think I just realized who it is. I might be projecting too much, but I have a guess.
I'm not going to say anything because I want to know what your methods are for coming up with this. I'm very intrigued. Like once we get to that point.
Random as shit. I just thought of it just now. I think I know what your thing is.
Oh my gosh.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down and circled it just in case.
I'm so excited to see.
I don't have an envelope.
Well, we can't get to my number 3, Jay, we can't get to my number 1 until we get to your number 3. So, yeah,
sure.
Go for it.
Although my numbers are all skewed at this point. So this will be my third entry onto the list. And I'm going to claim that AFI is basically sort of an ultimate how did we get here story for the 2000s. To the general public, they are the quintessential two-hit wonders of the emo era, forever defined by the industrial stomp of Miss Murder and the icy synth-driven shimmer of Love Like Winter. These tracks they were inescapable, depending on where you were in the country. They were everywhere. Miss Murder, the anthem of 2006. It peaked at number 24 on the Hot 100 and became a permanent fixture in Guitar Hero. And for a brief window, AFI was this aesthetic blueprint for an entire generation of Hot Topic kids, trading their East Bay punk roots for high fashion, Victorian goth meets glam look that felt like it fell out of a Tim Burton fever dream. But for the diehard fans who'd been there since the 90s, that sudden popularity kind of felt like a glitch in the Matrix. The shift from that raw, blistering hardcore of Black Sails in the Sunset to the glossier textures of December Underground was a massive sonic whiplash. Longtime fans were used to Davey Havok screaming over breakneck punk riffs, not soaring over programmed beats and whoa choruses. The reaction was polarized at minimum. That's like to say the least. Many of the old heads felt the band had sold their soul to the major label machine, while millions of new fans saw them as pioneers of a more sophisticated theatrical alternative rock. They are notable as two-hit wonders because they occupy this weird dual reality. So to the masses, they're nostalgic snapshot of 2006. But to their cult following, those two hits were a strange neon lit detour in a career that spanned over 30 years of constant reinvention. They hit this money pit one time. Well, two times, and then fell back into this, and maybe not fell back, journeyed back into this cool reinvention that they did. It was an aberrant deviation that they made it to the charts in the first place.
That was a weird one for me, honestly, because I toyed with this. I did have them on my honorable mentions, and I toyed with like if they were I almost went back and forth between like, are they too popular of a band to call them a 2-hit wonder? And then are they popular enough of a band to call them a 2-hit? And I oscillated back and forth, and I couldn't land either side. It was one of the more interesting cases on my list.
Yeah, the interesting part for me is you talking about the two hits and me going, oh yeah, I don't totally know them. It's Silver and Cold and Girls Not Great. Those things were huge back in the day, and not even close, didn't even chart. I mean, because those are the first two songs that my brain hits. Miss Murder came in after the fact, so maybe I am in fact one of those old heads. Mm-hmm. Because the other song that was constantly in my hand, the opener to that album, Sing the Sorrow, Misera Canter. I know it held a different spot for me because that was about the time that I discovered Ring of Honor, and that was the theme song at the time of one Christopher Martin Punk. So that stuck in my brain.
How did I not know that? That's interesting.
Yep. I appreciate you letting that joke just go too.
Yeah, and like for me, like I had seen them live on the Sing the Sorrow tour, right? Like it was with Anti-Flag and Strike Anywhere, and then all of a sudden Miss Murder drops, and like they wouldn't fit on that show at all at this point. Like, what are we talking about right now?
Interestingly enough, the time that I saw them live, they opened for Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds.
Wow. That's a departure. Although I said they wouldn't fit on the show, but I have also witnessed ODB opening for Dillinger Escape Plan. So things that line up.
Incredible show.
That's amazing.
Yes. But things that don't line up are not important at all.
Someone built the bill with an interesting idea, and I believe that idea was fuck it.
Just throw them on the pile. Fans will figure it out, or they won't.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Dan, is your number 2 record a weird one?
No. Well, let's put it this way. This is the point where I put myself on the line here and predict that I don't need to say a whole ton because I'm going to predict my number 2 artist is one of your number ones, Zach. And so I won't say a whole ton, except to say this. They are a definite case of a 2-hit wonder here, but massive stars in Europe. Still clocking number 1 hits in their native Norway in 2005 off of their 8th studio record. In fact, they're the best-selling artist to ever come onto the land of the midnight sun. Butebra Menyamun Best. It is, of course, ahh-ahh at number 2. The songs you know, Take On Me went to number 1 in the U.S. and 10 other countries in 85, followed closely by The Sun Always Shines on TV, peaking at number 20 here, but hitting top 10 in 13 countries. And you know what? I'll leave the rest to someone else after capping this off. One of the best synth pop acts to ever do it, producing one of the most endearing pop songs to have ever hit earballs.
Can I ask a question before we get into the music part?
Certainly.
Did you just Duolingo us?
A lingo us?
Did you
Duolingo?
Yeah.
Duolingo. I maybe.
Have you been learning Norwegian?
That'll be the closest Norwegian I've ever gotten. Let's put it that way.
I can recite the lyrics to some Kaiser's Orchestra tunes. I have no idea what they mean, but they're in Norwegian.
Well, fantastic delivery. In as much as those are the first words in Norwegian I've ever heard in my life, so I'm just going to assume that they were correct. But I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to spoil anything one way or another. So
fair. Well, you have to say a lot more than that because it's your turn to do your number 2.
which may or may not be the album that, or the artist that you just talked about. It is actually not that artist, but it is an artist that you have talked about already today. Because as we discussed earlier in the show, we can all go in different directions with these things. We often do. Today we have. But for my top two, I feel like I had to stay true to the assignment because, in all honesty, I do believe that these two are the quintessential two-hit wonder acts. Both of them were popular in their time. Both of them continue to get airplay to this day. Not only that, but if you went to someone on the street and asked them to name just one song by either of these groups, either my number two or my number one, you would probably get about a 50% mix. One of those bands, my number two, is the aforementioned Blues Traveler with their timeless hit stand that you already talked about, Runaround and Hook. You talked about their discography spanning from 1990 to 2023 with a tour just a few months ago in the summer of 2025. They were relevant in the 90s. They remain relevant today. And these two songs are, to me, interchangeable in terms of their popularity and in terms of how iconic they are to both their bands and to the music of that time period and beyond.
Word. But I think, Dan, our guesses about what his number one have been shot in the foot.
I think they may have been.
I don't know. I think possibly, yeah. Yeah.
No, good pick. Solid pick. Well, honorable mention for me. So,
well, we'll swing it over to you then, Jay, to find out about your number two.
Okay, so on a list of two-hit wonders, we have to talk, and I mean we have to talk about the Spin Doctors because they are the absolute poster children for early 90s rapid vibe shift. Most bands would have killed for just one hit. But these guys dropped Little Miss Can't Be Wrong and Two Princes back to back and basically owned 1993. It wasn't that the songs were catchy. They were. But they had this specific crunchy jam band light energy that just managed to bridge that gap between the dying hair metal era, the fading of grunge, and the aggressive apathy that was just taking over the industry. They were everywhere. MTV on a loop to the background of every single backyard barbecue in America. Everywhere. That guy's doofy face was everywhere. But to me, what made them so notable as a two-hit wonder, it's not just the success. It's the sheer velocity of the burnout. So they went from selling 10 million copies of Pocket Full of Kryptonite to becoming a punchline almost overnight. Once the music industry had pivoted toward the serious, brooding angst of Seattle or whatever was coming around with post-grunge and nu metal. They didn't just fade away. They became a time capsule. And when you hear that like opening snare hit of Two Princes now, you're not just hearing a song, you're instantly transported to a world of floppy hats and oversized vests and a very specific kind of optimistic funk rock that the world decided it was done with by 1995.
Not even, honestly. And I say this, they're absolutely an honorable mention. Absolutely an honorable mention. Because the band, it's fascinating. So Pocket Full of Kryptonite comes out in 92. Little Miss Can't Be Wrong finishes the year on the swing. Then Two Princes takes over 1993. And literally a year later, they put out Turn It Upside Down. And maybe their biggest mistake of their career was putting out Cleopatra's Cat as the first single. Because if they would have led with your heart, you let your heart go too fast, they might have still been able to continue that wave. Because it sounded more like Two Princes and Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. And it probably, if I remember correctly, it was supposed to be on the record and it was just, they dropped it and then toured for all of 92 and 93. So they just picked right back up with, but then you had, again, your openers, Cleopatra's Cat, and radio is not going to play this song. And they didn't, which is why it only made it to number 84. They made it to number 84 because everyone went, oh, hey, cool, new Spin Doctor song. What the fuck is this?
Which is a valid response to that song.
Like, Okay, look, it's got this weird, eccentric kind of cool vibes, but it definitely doesn't have the weird, eccentric lead single vibes. That's the fifth single kind of thing where you just want to get a little bit of shine on and extend the album's cycle of life.
Side note, they released an album in 2025 and I love it.
I totally missed it.
I thought we talked about it.
It was an honorable mention for me back in like June, I think. I can't remember what month it was. It's fun. They are the embodiment of fun in rock music still.
And you need that, truly.
You need it. It's so good.
Certainly.
Even if some of the songs are about his girlfriend's boombox.
They can't all be winners.
You know inspiration comes from wherever it just may happen to hit you.
Mm-hmm. Also, I unapologetically love that song that I just mentioned.
Maybe they can all be winners. I take it back.
It's so good. It's so good in such a bad way.
Oh, shit.
They're never charting again. That's
no, absolutely not. Unless they get lucky and end up at like on a iconic TV show at like a really pivotal point.
Or maybe an iconic podcast that is looking for people in 2026 to be on it.
Hey, resolution. Check. Double check. Spin doctors, hit us up. Well, we have almost gotten to the top of all of our collective mountains, but we still have to go down. I almost said go down to the bottom. That's not this show. That's a different show. I guess the bottoms of our list, which are still going to be really good. Dan, hit us with your some of your honorable mentions for this list.
I'm trying to clean out the ones that we had already talked about and things that probably would like what would have been number 6 would be Fastball for me, but I could go with what would have probably been a number 7. I probably would have gone with Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Still too new for me.
What?
It's too early, and like she can still chart for me.
I suppose so. True. I suppose you could give that, but like the last one solo that was a top 40 hit was I Really Like You in 39. That was like 2011, I think. And she's put some great records out since, but I don't know that anything is gonna grab her again, unless something ends up on a soundtrack hit, it might catch fire, but I suppose that's about right. Also putting through some of them I know that fall into your list because Falco is definitely up there. Another one, 2 hits here, so many more in Europe. He got a top 10 hit with Brigitte Nielsen in Europe.
That's saying something.
That's saying something. Had Eve 6, had the Spin Doctors. Ugly Kid Joe. Everybody completely forgets that Everything About You is them. And it was also a top 10 hit before Cats in the Cradle.
That's wild. I totally forgot that they existed until doing research for this podcast.
Right. Let's see. Tone Loc, 2 top 3 hits, man. There was like, he was a time and a place, and the top of that time and place. He was the top of that snapshot of early 90s rap and hip hop there.
Agreed, and they're still fun to listen to, but he can stay in the bin because one of those 2 top 3 songs is about a date rape drug. So
correct. Also, why that goes over there on that list down there.
Yeah,
a couple of them. We get 2 more, and then let me start a fight because everyone forgets the presidents of the United States of America absolutely make this list for Lump and Peaches, 100%. Both of them top 30. But still, another one that had massive success and then faded away, Cisco.
Oh.
Yeah. And here's the look on your face is what tells me what blows you away. But also remember, the Thong Song wasn't his number 1.
Yeah. No, what was his number 1 then?
Ironically enough, Incomplete.
I'm trying to remember.
The song you forget about.
I don't even remember.
It's almost like it was.
I don't know that. I don't remember the song.
It is definitely one of the. When you listen to it, you'll go, because I did the exact same thing. Now to the technicality.
Yeah, I'm not.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Confirmed.
Now to the technical, like that was, and I put this, I will say this, that was everything that was in my A category. I actually did have an A, B, C, and then F. So I won't trouble you with B or C. I will start the fight with one that would be an obvious number one for many reasons, but I couldn't do it because I thought it was a cop-out and it almost diminished their impact to slot them on a list like this because of everything else they did. Boys, Nirvana's a two-hit wonder.
Yep. It's on my list. On my honorable mentions list.
I agree 100% with you, Dan, from the technical perspective and for the reasons that you couldn't put it on the list. I 100% agree with both.
Yep. I chose the same reasons to leave it on my honorable mentions.
But that's incredible of all the bands.
I mean, but that's the thing that by definition, if you really want to go by definitions, Jimi Hendrix is a one-hit wonder.
That is very true.
No one would put him anywhere near that category or anything that goes by it.
I mean, sort of, but you also have to remember, too, that they didn't start tracking that until 1976. So technically, Pink Floyd is a one-hit wonder. And
Billboard.
Or maybe even a no-hit wonder.
You're going to make me look that back
like
up.
There's a lot that fall into that category because of the timing of, but it was 76 when they started tracking that. So it's a little hard to.
Oh, the Billboard Hot 100 goes back to like 56.
Yes. But the way they track singles, remember how we talked about the Cranberries and Fastball? That same shit applies to pre-single releases.
Sure. No, I'm saying like he's
like,
got chart hits. It's just only one top 40.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I mean. Like Foxy Lady, 67. Purple Haze, 65. Crosstown Traffic, 52.
What can we say? The 60s were just a better time for music.
Yeah,
we proved that. We proved that wasn't true with our re-rank of 65.
True.
Very
However,
true.
I will say I think we can agree that 91 was not a great time for music because of all the two-hit wonders I listened to try to shift through. Only one of them fell all the way down into F. That's F for Fuck Everything, and it's of course Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. And when we talk about a snapshot in time with songs, Good Vibrations and Wild Side is a time that we should never fucking return to ever again. Fuck everything.
Here.
Oh, man.
Yeah. America didn't always get it. America rarely got it right in terms of these
really got a lot of stuff right. Yeah, no. We kind of suck.
Rarely got it right.
Yeah. Well, I can fire off a few of mine as well. I think one, maybe both of you had mentioned the concept of the three-hit wonder. I did have 3 acts that fell into that category. One, Jay, to your point, maybe is not done as a hit maker, and that is Fun. With Some Nights We Are Young and Carry On. I think with all of these, there's going to be one track that I don't know that I'd agree with as a hit, but by definition, Carry On was a charting hit single. So we put it in there.
And I do think if he's going to chart again, it's probably solo.
Yeah, I forgot he did his solo. He did that thing with Pink. That was pretty good. MGMT. Now, this is an actual 3-hit wonder. All 3 of these were solid, legitimate hits, being Time to Pretend, Electric Feel, and Kids, my personal favorite of the 3. Yeah, I couldn't disregard any of those, even if I wanted to get MGMT on, and I did consider it, but all 3 of those tracks are bangers, and they deserve their slot as bona fide hits.
How do I always forget their Electric Feel was them?
I know. And then maybe a bit of a homer pick for me, maybe also a homer pick for you, Jay, but Toad the Wet Sprocket. All I Want and Walk on the Ocean being the 2 most recognizable ones. But I always forget that Fall Down was also a decently airplayed hit.
And maybe my favorite of the 3, truthfully.
Mm-hmm. It's a good song. They're all good songs. A couple of other ones that were already mentioned, AFI, KT Tunstall. Let's see, Tayo Cruz.
Why would you even waste paper space writing that down, even if it's digital?
Because those 2 songs were solid, fun pop. Solid, fun pop. I'm not going to put him in a top 10, but top 15, totally.
More importantly, what was the second?
Dynamite. I'm assuming you're saying the first is Break Your Heart.
No, I was doing the other way.
Oh, interesting.
Break Your Heart wasn't the first one that hit me. Dynamite, but
yeah.
Nope, didn't have Break Your Heart. Okay.
Was there a third? I may have shortchanged him a song.
Well, you go ahead. I'll see what I can do.
Okay. We also had Lit, and I think that's more just because these are two of the most fun, singable car karaoke songs on the planet, being My Own Worst Enemy and Miserable.
Technically,
Terry
you do
Crews
have
had
a
a
hit.
third with Higher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why this is so hard. That's why it's so hard.
Right.
You guys were immediately on that too, like just hitting the buzzer.
You go ahead. We'll hit Google Radio over here.
Respect. And then to go ahead and dispel the thought that both of you had, ahh-ahh is an honorable mention. Because if I'm going to call The Sun Always Shines on TV a hit, then I have to call the entirety of Hunting High and Low a hit. And I'm okay with doing that, but then we have a 10-hit wonder and not a 2-hit wonder.
I know. But again, some of us followed rules and some of us were like, fuck the rules.
Fuck the rules. We're not here.
And what's worse is as soon as Jace, he held up a piece of paper and I could not read what was on it, but his face told me all I needed to do.
It said ahh-ahh.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought of something else that as soon as I thought of it, I went, damn, now I feel the fool. And you should feel even bigger fool if you didn't go with this.
I already feel a fool just for other reasons. Oh shit. Jay, what about your honorable mentions?
You know what though? I am only going to add one more artist to the honorable mentions because everybody else has been talked about, and the only thing that I had on my list that hasn't been talked about yet is My Chemical Romance, who charted twice with "Welcome to the Black Parade" and "Helena, So Long Goodbye." And I actually toyed back and forth between using them as an example or AFI, and I chose to go with AFI. So that was where I landed there. But everybody else that I had talked about, because I did stick to the rule even with what I wrote down, like I talked about, maybe Arrested Development or, a couple other things in there, but they had three. So I stuck to my own rules and I didn't write anything down that wasn't on there. So Blues Traveler, Fastball, and Nirvana was on my list, and My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, I think that would be one like AFI or even ahh-ahh to me, that like I love so many of those songs that I would think I would give them too many hits than the confines of the episode would allow.
Yeah, they only had the two.
Huh. Yeah, same thing. I'm surprised I'm Not Okay didn't sneak in there as well.
Yeah.
It's on the chart, but it didn't make top 40.
Okay.
Maybe like The Ghost of You. That might have been a small hit. Teenagers.
Yeah. Another one, again, on the chart.
Yeah.
Not top
Famous
40.
Last Words.
Yeah. So many jams.
We're not fans or anything, apparently.
I hate that fucking man.
All right. Let's bring it around. What did top your list, Dan? What is the creme de la duo? I don't know how to say this.
Well, I need to thank one of you because I started writing and then kind of stopped as soon as we started recording, and I was like, I had to get back and write more. And then thanks to one of you, I didn't have to, but I'll read as far as I've gone. Because when we're defining a 2-hit wonder at the top of the show, we talked about rules, but I still think we laid out a pretty good framework to help put all these acts into their proper contexts. But the ultimate among them would be an artist who exploded on the scene, leaving 2 undeniably successful songs in their wake, and then never again gracing the hit parade with their presence. An artist whose name and work at least for 2 tracks. But then everyone draws a blank and proceeds to Google to see if they've heard of any of their other stuff. And the more that I describe this artist, the more it seems like I'm dragging them down. Like all they were good for was 2 songs and nothing else is worth your time, which is really not true. Because, hey, maybe when you peak so early, it may be hard to replicate at, but do you really have to? Like, I'm just going to do the 2.
That's all I need.
I'm good. When your major debut single does so well that it peaks at number 8 and earns you 3 Grammy nominations, and then when the follow-up peaks at number 11 but remains in our collective conscience as the theme of one of the most, for some reason, popular shows in the collective millennial memory, you're an artist that's only had a pair of great ideas and have earned the cachet for the rest of your career. When your smashes are Where Have All the Cowboys Gone and I Don't Want to Wait, and you are Paula Cole, you are the number 1 2-hit wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the criteria. That was it. 2 huge songs.
Oh no.
And that's not to say that she hasn't been releasing. Like she's consistently been, I think, at 8 or 9 studio length albums and plenty of stuff on top of that. So it's just not like she just disappeared and stopped working. It's just she hit the right time, hit the right part of the zeitgeist at the right time, got huge, and has been able to continue off a career off of those 2 songs.
And that's such a good point. Like so much of this, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, so much of the music game is luck. You know?
Yeah.
Not only luck of being heard by the right people at the right time in your career, but also being heard by the masses at the right time of the culture, of the genre, of the zeitgeist. Like you can't plan that.
No.
You also can't plan being on Dawson's Creek.
You can't do that now.
It helps.
Yeah. All right. Zach, how about yours?
I will say that when I was talking about my number 2, Blues Traveler, that I deliberately left something out, specifically surrounding frontman and co-founder of the band, John Popper. The same John Popper who was a part of a band in the late 80s called Trucking Company. Popper was short-lived in the band because he had to go do the other thing, which worked out fairly well for him. But the rest of the trucking company stayed together, changed their names, and eventually became my number 1 2-hit wonder and the other artist that I feel is the quintessential 2-hit wonder artist, and that is the aforementioned Spin Doctors. These could have been 1 and 1A. They, in my mind, they were 1 and 1A, to be completely honest, because I feel like there are so many corollaries to them as 2-hit wonders, maybe not to the bands themselves, although the longevity does line up pretty well. With both bands releasing music in the 2020s, as Jay already mentioned, the album Face Full of Cake from last year, from 2025. Both of them also touring just last summer together, in fact, with the Gin Blossoms, who are absolutely not a 2-hit wonder. But the 2 of these bands being in such lockstep with one another, I feel like they make up the top of the pyramid of 2-hit wonders.
Love it. I mean, 100%. Obviously, I had it on my list too. So
this is where I feel I may have underrated them, but I'm glad at least they got picked up on y'all's.
Yeah, there's so much. Honestly, they probably wouldn't have if they hadn't dropped a record this year. Like that is what had them at the forefront of my 2-hit wonderness. Nice. And seriously, go listen to Face Full of Cake. It's so good.
Very nice. Well, bring us home, Jay. What's your number 1 2-hit wonder?
My number 1 2-hit wonder has also been mentioned. I would call it an example of a band that won the battle but lost the war against the 90s mood shift. Kings of Isla Vista, hitting the jackpot twice. That's Ugly Kid Joe. Everything About You was sort of that definitive anthem for every bratty teenager in 1992. And then the massive, surprisingly sincere cover of Harry Chapin's Cats in the Cradle. Yeah. They were the bridge between Sunset Strip and Seattle. They had the long hair, they had the guitar solos of the 80s, but they also had the board shorts and the sarcastic whatever attitude of the 90s. They were huge. They were fun. And then almost overnight, the music industry decided that fun was no longer cool. The reason I think people mostly forgot about them is that they were a party band that got stuck at the party after the lights came on. Grunge got darker and more self-serious, and Whitfield Crane's cartoonish energy started to feel like a relic. After the band kind of fizzled out in 97, Whit actually stayed really incredibly busy in the heavy metal underworld. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Oh, I didn't.
He did a stint fronting Life of Agony while Keith Caputo was out. He formed the band Medication with members of Machine Head, Soulfly, and Stone Sour.
Holy shit.
And he had Another Animal, that was a band that happened while Sully Erna had writer's block, and the other members of Godsmack decided they wanted to keep working. He also even nearly replaced Rob Halford in Judas Priest. He's sort of lived this wild Zelig life in rock music. He toured with Motorhead, working with members of Godsmack, etc. Oh, but Shannon Larkin was in Ugly Kid Joe, so that doesn't really surprise much. They eventually reunited. They remained frozen in 1993, though. So even with the reuniting, it's a high energy snapshot of a time when you could become a superstar just by singing about how much you hated everything. Their reunition. That's not a word. It's the same lineup as they had in Menace to Sobriety and Motel California. And they are expecting to release an album in 2026, and I'm here for it.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Would not have expected that guy to have had the career arc that you have described, but that's just so interesting.
I very much enjoy his work with Life of Agony. I prefer him to Keith Caputo. I have to apologize because Keith Caputo is a dead name, and I do not know her name now. So I keep saying Keith Caputo, but I don't know her name now. I can't remember it. I'd have to look that up, and I really should apologize for that. But the other acts, Medication, I really enjoy. Another Animal, I prefer that to Godsmack. So, though I do think it would be really interesting having Whit Crane sing instead of Rob Halford. I don't know that I can see that happening.
We're all trying to picture it, I assume.
Yeah.
And it's like almost there, but there's just one thing holding it back for me. I don't know what that is.
Is it his goofy face? I think that might be it.
It might be. It might be his face. That's. I know how that sounds when I say.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
That's number one.
Unexpected choices for both of you for your number ones, but I am 100% here for it.
Yeah. Me too. That was a good list. I had fun.
A great way to start 2026, if I do say so myself.
9 out of 10. We'll probably do again.
If the listeners are unlucky, as it were. Let's see if I remember all the plugs. It's been a while since we've done the plugs. Blue Sky.
You can't read. Oh, never mind. You can't read my card.
Like even when you wrote aha down, just like Dan, like I could not read it. So I assumed I knew what it said, but I was like, yeah, that looks great. Blue Sky and Scram Threads, TikTok, at Fairly KickAss on all of them. FairlyKickAss.com for all of your ride-along playlists for all of your episodes. FairlyKickAss@gmail.com if you'd like to ride along with us. That's right, like WRITE. Because that's the best that I'm going to do with the humor in this segment. And wherever you get your podcast, just search for us. It could be on YouTube. It could be on Apple Music. It could be on iHeartRadio. There are a million other ones. Just search for us. If you can't find us, please let us know, and we will get on your podcast provider of choice. We have done it before, and we will do it again. Hey. With that, boys, any words to bring us fully into 2026?
Here's to another year of pressing play.
That was way too profound.
I know, right? I felt like a heel as soon as I said it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work around here.
Oh, t-shirts, mugs. Oh, the merch money is just going to roll in.